Our next presentation today is going to discuss a little bit about tournament operations and facility experience and feature some of our very own PGA professionals. I know it's always a pleasure to get to learn a little bit from our fellow members and associates. And today on the stage with me I have Ashley Skidmore, PGA Director of Golf at High Hill Country Golf Club, Aaron Chilek, PGA Head Professional at Austin Country Club, and Derrick Dixon, PGA General Manager at Briggs Ranch Golf Club. Let's give them a big round of applause for being here. All right, team, we'll just kind of start on line and head down the line if that works for you.
Mic check.
All right. Well, Derrick, let's start off with kind of telling us what you feel the key component is to member and guest experience at your facility.
Oh, well, Corey and Cameron hit on it this morning, is culture. At Briggs, there's something that we focus on. There's two key components that we focus on, is culture, number one, and number two, anticipatory hospitality. We're kind of a small boutique golf club with 60 beds, focused on more of a national club, so it's a little bit different than most operations in here. But anticipatory hospitality is something that we drive home every day. We have some systems and processes in place to capture members' preferences. We record those in Jonas and other things like that. But it's more so the culture that is created to be able to create that hospitality or anticipatory hospitality. I don't know how much more to add than what Corey and Cameron did this morning. That was fantastic. Watching a mentor, mentee talk about that and how they develop theirs is unbelievable. Probably the most intentional culture practices I've ever heard of, which is just phenomenal to learn from. Culture and anticipatory hospitality is kind of where we hit home run.
Well, Derrick, if you want to hang on to that, I want to hit you with some questions here. What steps do you ensure that this is accomplished at your facility at the highest level, and kind of what do you walk through your staff through, and what training do you do with your team to make sure that these are accomplished?
Yeah, first and foremost is during the interview process, you got to identify the people that have the service mentality. And you go through a few. Here's some that kind of you get here in the interview process, and you kind of have to flush through a few people. But first and foremost, it's about hiring well. After the hiring process, there's this outside service team member. They spend multiple days with your club services manager, multiple days with Mike Ross, our golf professional, and then I'll spend a couple of days with them. Just reiterating the importance of hospitality in our culture. I like to think that we're a drama-free workplace and environment. I think that's huge. So, just walking through those steps, and then after that, you kind of just sit back and kind of let them spread their wings slowly.
Very good, very good. All right, we're going to head down the line to Ashley. Ashley, we're going to keep that same train rolling there. What's the key component to the member and guest facility at your over at High Hill Country Golf Club?
Yeah, so I say we are a little bit different. With being a resort, people come in the main drive and then they're really intimidated. They pull up to the gatehouse, they don't know where to go, what to do, and so I think our whole experience starts there. Making sure our gatehouse team knows exactly what to do, what to tell the individuals, and really make sure we're creating an experience from the moment that they step foot on our property. One of our biggest things that we try and do is, customer service. Customer service is how are we going to make ourselves different from the next golf course down the line, the next resort that they can be able to have an opportunity to go to, and how are we going to do that? And I would say, all of our staffing, customer service, and our experience starts there. We want to make sure guests come into the parking lot and feel welcome. We want to make sure we know who they are. All of our members, we want to be able to welcome them as soon as they come in and say, good afternoon, Mr. Smith. We know we got your bags ready to go. They're on a golf cart, ready to go for you. And I think, starting there and making them feel welcome and creating that full entire experience is going to be what keeps everyone so unique and what differs each and every one of our properties. Everyone kind of has the same product we're selling. We're selling a golf course. They go out and play golf. But how are we going to make our course different from the next one right down the road? And I think that really goes to really building the same thing, culture, the experience, and really training our employees and our team.
Absolutely. Any special or notable training procedures you'll utilize to kind of make sure that that's driven home through these new hires and current staff, of course?
Yeah, so one of the big things that we try and focus in on is just, we're really busy. We really focus in on tournaments at our facility. And, even like this weekend, we've got going into tournament season, starting in March, and so this weekend we're going through a mock training of how to set up tournaments, how to go through and run a tournament. For all of our new staff that we have coming in for the season, we're really going to go in and focus in and run a full golf tournament this weekend, even though there's nothing going on. We're going to go through, set it all up, plan it all out, do card signs, do scorecards, do a scoreboard, and make sure every portion of our operation is flawless from start to finish, and really make sure all of our staff members know what to do.
Very good, very good. Send it on down the line here, Mr. Chilek. Aaron? Bet you probably know the questions by now, but what do you feel the key component to member and guest facility experiences at Austin Country Club?
Well, first of all, thank you, Scott, Thomas, and the team. Had a great couple of days. Really appreciate that. I want to wish everybody happy Valentine's Day. Don't forget, it is Valentine's Day. But as far as driving experiences, to me, it comes from consistency. You know, the talk this morning about culture drives that consistency as well, just as you mentioned. So, you know, it's one thing for us to be able to put out clean golf carts with the right number of tees, pencil scorecards, towels, and everything. That's the basics, right? But what can you do extra? How can you drive a genuine culture with your staff to try to drive something different for those members? That's really a key for us. Our key component for us at Austin Country Club is trying to do something a little bit different, and even try some new things. You may fail at some of those things, but that's okay. Try something different to make it a surprise for them.
Absolutely, it's been a great theme, is to not be scared of failure and to really push that on for them. You know, Aaron, I think you know the question coming. What do you kind of work with on your staff? What training, special techniques do you all use to make sure that you provide that experience?
Really going in depth with training is important. We have a 10-day process of training, so we're checking the boxes. It starts really simple and then works its way up from there to ensure that every employee knows where they stand and know what's expected of them and why.
Absolutely. Aaron, we'll let you pull on the microphone there. We'll just kind of work our way back down the line here, but kind of walk us through a couple of ways you maybe make your member guest, member, or other high-profile events at your facility special for participants.
Tournaments are always, to me, one of the most enjoyable parts of the job, right? And been able to work at some fabulous facilities where we've really kind of gone above and beyond to drive member guest experience, especially taking that as an opportunity to showcase your facility to the members and their guests. You know, from our standpoint, from a format standpoint, I've seen the best success come from a round robin format, just so that each team gets to spend, 9 holes with everybody in their flight. I think that adds an important component to it. Looking at the format play, whether it's a best ball, a shamble best ball, or whatever it may be, I think it's important for the member guests to be competitive, but also be social as well. So where it's something that the member can invite a client, not put a ton of pressure on them potentially, they could also enjoy it. So shamble portion, I found the most success with that. But from a member guest standpoint, we go into the tee gifts. What does that experience look like? Which we've seen a lot of concept shops have success. And to me, it's trying to find a gift. It's kind of like trying to buy your father a gift. He's got everything, right? So trying to find that gift for your members and their guests that they don't know they want yet. And really reach out to your fellow professionals. What are they doing? What successes have they had with buying those tee gifts? That's an important component to it as well.
Absolutely, absolutely. Aaron, does any particular tee gift stand out over your career as one of the ones that you're most proud of as a tournament operator?
That's a great question. It all changes, right? From one year to the next. I remember when the Bushnell wingmans came out. That was huge. Everybody loved that. Everybody's got those. In the online concept shops have been successful too, because members can really find exactly what they want. This year we're getting away from that. We're going more to having something there at the property to make it a little bit more personal for them. That just kind of depends on the goals of the event.
Absolutely. Very good, very good. Ms. Skidmore? Talk us through how you make the event special at the Country Golf Club. Obviously, you've got a little more uniqueness, then you have various types of events. Maybe walk us through a couple different ones.
Yeah, of course. So we mainly focus in on charities and corporation events. We run north of 200 events at our facility, so pretty much any and every day day, we have some type of event going on. If it's a small little outing to a large 300 plus person outing, we go through and chug along. But we try to make each and every one of those events as spectacular as possible. We've got a designated coordinator, a tournament professional that's dedicated to planning and organizing each and every one of those tournaments. So if it's a 16-person group outing just for golf, just a golf trip, or the 300-person corporate outing, his main job is to be able to go in and plan everything from the time they get out of their car to the time they leave. And throughout that process, we go through and really try to dive in on making sure each and every one of those golfers feel special when they're out there. We have a process that we do for kind of like as soon as we're setting up the golf carts and players are out there warming up, we go through and do an admin process, and that makes sure that our staff member is touching each and every one of those golf clubs, making sure every single player on that list is correct, all the spellings are correct. We go through it throughout the end of that process, and then we update the scoreboard so that way when golfers come to the reception portion of it, again, it doesn't matter if it's small or large, their names are fully updated on the scoreboard and their groups are accurate. So it makes them feel a little bit special because if there's a substitute right at the last second, it makes sure that they are up there on the board representing their team correctly. So even with some of our bigger events that we have, we try and dive into really making sure if we do pop-up merchandise events or going through and having specialized tea gifts for each and every one of them. We try and build out a merchandise package to be able to offer every one of them, small or large, and even most of our charities. So a lot of our charities are very price sensitive. So we do work with a lot of our vendors to be able to try and find the most price efficient products out there that can be able to help with them. And bigger quantities means bigger discounts, but we do have really good relationships with all of our vendors as well, just to make sure that we are providing the best product that we can.
Absolutely. Naturally, obviously, you'll have a great golf shop over there with some great swag. I picked up an item or two when stopping out at Hyatt. Is there anything you've been particularly proud of you've ordered for one of your events?
I would say mostly we try and find the most creative things. If that's designing custom cups with our logos, having creativity in the t-shirts, different styles of items, but really taking our logo and putting it out there on different things. If it's the glassware, if it's the wine bags, shoe bags, anything like that. But really trying to drive our logo out there and being creative with it is in any way we can.
Absolutely. I'll hit you with a fun, quick question that came up last night after dinner. Where is the proper place the logo of the sweater is?
Left chest.
Left chest. Okay, very good. All right, going on down to Mr. Dixon here. Derek, take it away.
Yeah, no, that's all great stuff, both of y'all. I think for our operation at Briggs, I think there's a couple of things to keep in mind. And being the GM, I have a little bit more input on the entire operation. So my saying is we're a culinary event with a golf tournament attached. So there's a big focus on the culinary aspect of it. Lots of live stations, active stations. The chefs are out there. In my experience, there's two people that members want to talk to, and that's the chef and the golf professional. And they can care less about anybody else. So we get the chef out there in front of everybody and really showcase the culinary experience. Tea gifts, I want a tea gift. I'm the least creative person in our operation, so I try to stay out of it as much as I can. However, the words of advice, let's make it an experience as well. For example, Blue Delta jeans, they came out in the Antis belts, and so it's a process. You go, you get measured for the belt, you get measured for the jeans. Experiences are always great. They don't have to be expensive. I mean, Blue Delta jeans are $500 jeans, but there's plenty of other opportunities out there just to make it part of the experience. As far as tournament, the formats, we use kind of the traditional for most of our events. I'll say most. We have 2 member guests a year. That's all we run. So pretty special with those 2 events. But we do the 5 and 9 hole matches and shoot out at the end.
Derek, bring up food and beverage. I know you'll have some of the top sweet potato fries in the section. My personal opinion. I'm going to hit you all with one a little off script here, but as you do scoring, how have y'all adjusted to the digital age? Do you do live scoring on the golf course? Do you use digital leaderboards, or do you still feel kind of the hand touch of that handwritten scoreboard, or does it vary by event?
For us, we still use hand. We do the calligraphy with kind of the old school way. We've dabbled a little bit with the live scoring stuff. It's worked out great. If you can use it, it's phenomenal. As y'all use it well, so it works out really, really good. For us, with only having those two types of events, it's a little bit more challenging trying to get everything set up on the back end. Yeah, so we can continue with the traditional method.
Derek, we're only successful at it because we've got our fantastic PGA members and associates to handle it out on the golf course.
For us at our facility, we have tried it, but it's been really hard with all of our clientele being more of the charities and corporates. A lot of people don't want to download apps to be able to then input scores. So that's where we struggle. So we've gone through, we print off our scoreboards on our printer, and then we just handwrite on the numbers. And I feel like, that makes it more of a, a little bit more of a touch rather than just having their name up on the, rotating TV. So we try and keep it a little bit more traditional in our facility, just for that little bit of hand touch on it.
That's the same with ours as well. At Austin Country Club, there's been a little bit of resistance to the online scoring. Our previous employer at the Hills Country Club and Lakeway Country Club, they were all in. All associations, everybody was all in. So again, it kind of goes back to that culture a little bit. But at Austin Country Club now, it's more traditional calligraphy and so on, especially for our major events.
Very good, very good. Well, team, we'll kind of wrap up here with an open-ended question. What advice would you provide to your fellow professionals regarding anything from customer service, events, or new ideas to implement at their facilities? Obviously, a wealth of knowledge on this stage, and all three of y'all have hosted our events and done an outstanding job, and we appreciate that. So, anything you'd like to share with your fellow professionals?
Sure, I think from a customer service standpoint, as the leaders of your groups, I think it's important to every once in a while do a self-evaluation of yourself. Okay, look in the mirror, make sure that you're providing all the resources that you have possible to help your employees drive the culture and the service that you're looking for. And I think it's important too to ask them to do a self-evaluation and see where you can find ways to help them to grow, to be a better employee, or help them reach their goals. So that's what I would encourage you.
For us, I would say, making sure you're over-prepared. That's one thing that I strive with my team, is making sure we have in every scenario ready to go. If it's going to be a rain delay, frost delay, if it's going to be where we're going to be short on parts, how do we walk through this as a team prior to it happening? We have a lot of events that it's tight turns, it's lots of, running and going here and there, but we want to make sure we are taking care of our clients in every way possible, and just making sure that everything is pre-set up. So we go through, we have weekly meetings with our food and beverage team, security team, our events and catering team, down to even our bev cart team, all in one room, and let's talk about all the different possibilities and scenarios that could happen with this event, and what would happen if we all of a sudden have a thunderstorm in the middle of our golf tournament? Where's our backup plan? Where's our lunch going to be? Making sure the chefs are communicated. For our facility, we struggle a lot with the food and beverage side. With it being actually owned and operated by a hotel, food and beverage costs, hotel has a very high price on those food and beverage. So for us, for golf tournaments, we really have to make sure we have a team in our culinary team that really understands where we're coming from. And right now I can say we're really fortunate with our chef and assistant chef, both being golfers. They understand that. They go to golf tournaments, they play in tournaments together with us, and they get to see that side of things. So, I really want to make sure everyone's working, every department in your team is working together as one whole, because that is the only way to have a successful event, and to make sure that everyone's pulling together for that charity operation, corporate event, the section events, anything out there.
Absolutely.
Yeah, awesome. I think I would challenge each and every one of you to create a culture of accountability. It's holding people accountable to create that consistency, like Aaron talked about earlier. It's hugely important, but that doesn't mean hold your team accountable. That means hold yourself accountable and have your team hold you accountable as well. Be open to constructive criticism, listen. And the other piece of advice is don't be afraid to let your team fly. So many times, very, very talented people get squashed. I'm the least talented, the least smartest person in my operation. I'm okay with that because I got a lot of talented people around me. Let them fly, let them do their own thing. They're the creative ones, especially the younger guys, younger gals. I mean, they're fantastic people. If you can let them fly a little bit, they'll definitely make your life much easier as well.
Well, everybody, let's give a big round of applause here for Aaron, Ashley, and Derek.